evening to some. All right, I'm back on the keyboard. I've been faithful for the most part. May have missed a day or two practice on the keys. And to be honest, I'm not a keyboard player. But working on my craft, doing what I can. I found a camera. Um, Now where is it at? Oh, over here in front of me. So I found me a camera that I completely forgotten all about. So now I gotta figure out how to operate that in the software called OBS. So when I get a moment, I'll try to see if I can figure this out, because it's really hard to connect with people who already know how to operate the system, and I don't know how to operate the system yet, but that's all good, you know. Everything I've done in life feel like everything I've done in life, I have to sit here and figure stuff out. Now, did this move? What? Sustain pedal keep trying to get away from me again. So, as I was mentioning, turn that down in my ear. To play like the pros, the only way to get there is collect information from those who play better than you. All right, let me see. Can I slide over to my left maybe? Let me see. I think I can slide slightly over to my right actually. Let's see. All right. Let's see my left hand. All right, so I found a camera, as I was mentioning, that I bought many years ago, and the only thing is the thing on the bottom that connects or screws in and snapped off. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get that rectified. It appears to be 4 little screws here, but let me see, actually 3 looks like 1, 2, 3 little itty bitty tiny screwdriver, and I'm not sure if this little piece, it looks like this little piece can come off. It looks like it, but then the other point is, where can I buy the replacement for this little piece? Because it looks like it can come off. I haven't tried that. I just gotta get a little tiny screwdriver and try to see if I can move that off of here, because there's 4 here, but I don't know. That's a good question, y'all. But it looks like I can move this little piece. Anyway, so that broke off so many years ago, so I had kind of stopped using it. Using this camera. That's what I did most of my video recordings many years ago. And I was trying to see if I have the actual tool that usually be on my organ, and I don't see it over there. I don't see it up there. Okay, usually it's up here on my organ. There's a little tiny, really small little thing I can use as a screwdriver. I think it's in my kitchen, because I might have used it somewhere else on something else. Anyways, so my subject is pretty much just about playing, trying to learn how to play like the pros or a heavyweight musician, and go from rookie level, you know, from baby saint level, if you will, from beginner level. So to in order to pull that off, I always have this little saying that I've always used to ask myself, and that will be, how would I do it if I'm a beginner musician? Like, how would I pull this off if I was a beginner musician getting going? And so I would start thinking, oh man, I found it. Oops, I dropped something down there. So that will be my question. I'll drop something down there. But that will be my actual question. How would I do it if I was a beginner musician, right? Now, this is me teaching myself or me looking to maybe taking some lessons or either me trying to ask questions. I don't know if this will work. Oh man, it didn't fit. Really? Okay. Wow, it looked like it's stripped away or something. How is that possible? Okay, this one looks like it's stripped away. I don't know how. Somebody must have tried to use it. Maybe my wife tried to use it and stripped it away on something. Okay, so that one ain't working. So that's dead to the dead. So yeah. So from a beginner level, man, I'm getting hot in this suit already. Um, from beginner level to immediate intermediate level, or if we could say beginner level to advanced, is it possible? Yes, I would say yes because now it depends on your interest level because you have to have a drive and interest level to want to be better than what you were today. So if I said I want to be better than I was yesterday, but just to say hypothetically, I'm just getting started. My first note is, and quite naturally, anybody would say, "Ooh, that's a mess." You sound a hot mess. Yeah, you sound a hot mess, Doc. Yes. So that's natural. That's the natural instinct of learning actually. And so I did this little thing in my job with my coworker. I said, "Hey man, I play keys or whatever." I didn't want to tell you about my business, but anyways. So then they was like, "Oh wow," and I was like, "Oh okay, you listen to music," and they was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, you could become a keyboard player or whatever, bass player, drummer." And it's like, "How you do that?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, you don't. I mean, I didn't know my notes when I first got started. I didn't know this was a C or that would be a G or that would be an F and this is A flat and this is deep. I didn't know none of that. When I got started, my first notes and chords that I played, and no one showed it to me. Point is, so I pulled out my phone. I have the app on my phone. I'm like, hey, just hit that little key, and they just went. Okay, I said, now you're a musician. You may not be qualified, bona fide, certified, but you're semi-musician in a sense, right? Now I asked them, I said, go back and do it again, and they hit the same note again. They didn't go over here. They went and hit that same note. I said, hey, go back and do it again. And they went, did it again. I'm like, hey, so you got a good memory. That's all it takes. A good memory. A good drive, right? You got to have a drive, right? You got to have good memory, good drive. All right. So that's the start. I always say if you don't start nothing, it won't be nothing, right? So if you don't start nothing, guess what? It's not going to be anything, right? Nothing is going to become of anything because you have no drive to want to learn. So to be able to play like the rookies, I mean the veterans or people who's been playing for a while, the pro musicians and so forth and so on. I'm gonna use this as my like a little table because I gotta charge up this iPad. I thought I did it last night, but guess not. So so yeah, so that was just my demonstration there. Now I didn't have to tell them what the note it was. It didn't matter. It was just the point is, can you hit the note and remember where you left off at? I didn't ask them to. I just say hit any note, any given note. And they just went, and I said, all right, go back and do it again. And they went back to the same note. Do it again. All right, cool. You have just got started, right? Now, if you want to commit to it or dedicate yourself time to learning music, that's a whole nother conversation we can have because then now you're going to start practicing it. Okay. Oh, right? You start practicing it. And then you get better and you want to go to your next note and do this. Now, if it's something that you want to just come into and say, hey, well, you want to really get serious with this, then that's a whole nother story. But you know, some people just not as serious as they might conversate about that they really want to play. But yeah, so that's what I would do if I was a beginner musician. I would wanted to know my skills, but see, it didn't work out like that with me. I met this cat, young cat. He was like, "Hey man, come with me to this church down the street, across the street from my house." I'm like, I lived up the block, several houses over, a block over, up the street. He was like, "Hey man, come to my crib, man. There's a church across the street, man. They be jamming almost every night. I don't know what they be doing, but they be jamming over there. I be hearing this music over there, and I'll be like, man, let me go get my homie." I didn't know how to play. I didn't know what I was doing, right, at all. So we went, and listen to some musicians who was on the organ, on the drums. I can't remember if they had a keyboard there, but I'm pretty sure they probably did. I just don't remember. So I was fascinated by the organ player. Now, before this, growing up at another church, I was already fascinated by another musician. Used to call him Big Brother. The Big Brother, right? And now we be calling folk Unc. What's up, Unc? That mean they getting old. What up, Unc? But so I was fascinated by Big Brother. Now I call him Unc now. But yeah, and growing up as a young boy, and I was like, man, I want to learn how to play that instrument. But never had anybody to want to give me the time of the day to show me how to play the organ. So when I got around about 16 years old, 'cause I think I was a young boy then, maybe like 7, 8 years old, and that's when I became interested in it, but never had nobody to show me how to get down with it. So that's okay. I still had that drive in my heart that I really wanted to learn how to play. Ended up moving to another ministry, and then when the organist player played for a long period of time, and was there when I was growing up, and then that young man ended up having to move on, but they had other musicians there, so I wanted to learn how to play the organ. But I ended up doing a vacation Bible school. I was about 15, 16 years old. So the deacons forgot to lock the door. And I snuck in the church, and this is my first chorus, y'all. No one taught me this, no theory, none of that. None of that. These was my very first chorus, and I will never forget. Every day I came in doing vacation Bible school. I can't remember how many days that we did it, but I know it was more than a week. And these are the first couple chords I taught myself every day. And then I will come back and go to the next move. And every day I came back. And then I would just recite it. Da, 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 da. And another day I came back. Da. And then it was... Right? Another day I came back. How many days it was, I can't remember. It was so long ago. And then I came with the next chord. And then another day I came back again, and I finished it off. All right. And that's how I learned by myself. No one showed me how to play it. And now I'm going to tell you what's so funny. Back in the day, we used to listen to a radio station. I think it was out of Richmond or wherever it was. But we used to listen to this radio station. And one day, somebody had the radio on. And I heard these voices, these chords. Now they skipped this chord, but they went here. I was like, wait a minute. I learned them chords. Who stole them chords from me? I can't remember which song it was. I think it was called Thank You. I think that's what it was. I heard it on the radio. Lord. Da 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 da. Thank you. This voice in here. Lord. Yeah. All right. And I was like, what? Them chords was mine. Who stole my chords? All right. But you never know. I was like, when I heard it on the radio, I ain't gonna lie, I was a bit kind of hot. And I was about 16 years old, 16, 17 years old. And I was like, man, somebody stole my chords. And that was the first time I actually kind of heard that song. Then finally somebody sung it at the church where we was at. And they were singing, thank you, Lord. Da, 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 da. Thank you, Lord. and whatever they turned around, what it was doing, da 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 da, back to it. Thank you. Now I didn't know all these other chord progressions at the time, right? So later on, when I got about maybe my 20s, I started trying to learn from other people by looking over their shoulder. And so I ran into this musician that I was trying about to get to, where my friend brought me to this church across the street from his house. And so that musician was kind of stayed after service, so to speak, when service over. And I guess he looked over and started thinking, hey, man, maybe I might be interested in what he, the instrument, the organ at the time. So I was like, all right. So he was like, hey, man, I'm going to show you these chords. Now I call this other musician Unc, but big brother, right? So I had two big brothers I was trying to want to learn from, but at the end of the day, the first one I did never got around to at that time until much later on after I had gotten married. Then I asked for a little bit of some chords, and so he could teach me a couple of chords, and then so I probably took lessons maybe once that time, and then and that was pretty much it. And then the other guy who was actually at this church across the street from where my buddy lived at, he showed me A flat, and I didn't know A flat. He was like, hey, you just play this. So, and I was like, what? And then I used to watch him, he would just be doing, the chord. And I used to watch him, and then I'll sit on the side of him, and I'll be like, every time he kept doing it, I kept watching his hand, the left hand. And I kept watching the left hand first. So then I learned what is called photographic memory. I can remember what a hand would. I didn't know what the notes were, but I was just memorizing what a hand was. Because I realized you got left and a right hand. So I was like, oh, he must be doing something in the left hand. Okay, and then every time he kept repeating. Right? And he just kept repeating that. Until I said, oh, okay, I know what you're doing. And I said, and then I had the chord. But of course, I was way up here doing it on the organ. You know what I'm saying? What was that chord I said? Yeah. All right. So he showed me that, and then he was like, okay. Then you got da da, and then he was like, okay, that board. So he started showing me that, right? I'll never forget. He showed me this. Actually, it was no, yeah, that was it. Then he took me to this chord. Then he took me to this da 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 da. Hold on, I'll move the chord out the way here. Alright, so I started memorizing it. Alright, I started memorizing it. It wasn't that he took the time. I said, oh, you're going to A flat, D, and F, and all that type of stuff, and B, D, F, and A flat. He didn't teach it to me like that. He was just like, just watch what I'm doing. Or actually, he didn't even say that. He just started playing. You're like, oh, you interested in it? I mean, he just kept playing it slow, just slow enough for me to catch it. And I'll never forget it slowly, right? Right? And okay, on the organ, it's a whole different feel on the organ. Then he taught me this move. Now on the organ, I wouldn't be expanding my left hand out because it will be like a different feel. Ba-da-da. Ba-da. Pretend that's the bass line on the bottom. Ba. 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 Right? So I would never forget that, right? And then later on, he started showing me. And then I had photographic memory. So what ended up happening later on, I started developing my own way of approaching it. Because after a while, somebody show you one way, you kind of come with another way. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, 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 ba. You know what I mean? Because you're on the organ, you do it. You know, you have to come from another angle. You know, ba, 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 right? All right, so that's how I learned looking over the shoulders of different musicians from whatever opportunity I had at that time. All right, and then later on, that's all I knew at the time when the preacher came and asked my mom, "Hey, is it okay if your son can come and come to church with me?" I'm like, "Oh, cool," you know. So we talked a little bit, and he was telling me how, hey, it's an opportunity for me to learn how to play the whatever instrument, you know. So he started asking me what instrument I wanted to play. I told him the organ. Of course, when I got there, I got to the church, and then they didn't have a drummer, so to speak, somewhat. So I ended up start trying to learn how to play the drum because I wanted to learn how to do that too. Basically, I was a jack of all trades. I wanted to learn how to play the organ and the drums. So I played a little bit of the drums for a minute until their main drummer came back to church and picked up for where he left off at, and then I went right back to the organ listening and watched the organ. So, and y'all probably noticed I didn't call any names. All right, but I had two musicians there that sometimes, sometimes some musicians are there faithfully to want to help you, and then you might have some that may not don't want to really put a lot of energy in helping you. So in this case, it wasn't that. It was just the fact that I realized even if they showed me how to play stuff, where am I going to practice this at? Oh. See, so at that time, I didn't have no instruments, no keyboards, no organs, because I was still young, right? So that would be my disadvantage of, well, it's kind of like, what's the point of showing me this stuff if I don't have no instruments to practice on, all right? So my interest level still was high. I was still disappointed because, or saddened, if you will, because I didn't have nothing to practice on. All right. Anyway, so later on, I ended up getting married in my early 20s. Then later on, after getting married and life settled up just a little bit, maybe a few, maybe I would give it take a year after that, and or maybe 2 years after that, then I was able to eventually afford to get me a keyboard. But then I turned around and sold it 6 months later. And then about several years later after that, I ended up buying an organ and ended up moving from the city to Vallejo. And then I couldn't play the organ then because when we moved to, because I didn't want to bring a B3 having an organ up a whole bunch of flight of stairs. So I had to leave it at mother-in-law's house. And of course, I had to be a working man with the family, wife and the children. So I couldn't just go over and practice every single day and all that type of stuff. So it was one of those every blue moon, go to my mother-in-law's house and go and practice on the organ or make sure it works still. Anyway, so moving forward in life, if you will, and that went on for about 10 years of dealing with that type of situation. So then finally I moved where I'm at now, 10 years later, back in 2000. And then I turned around and purchased another. I brought my organ here, by the way. So I used to have to put it out in the garage. And then I bought another keyboard, which is in my closet now, but I need to pull that bad boy out. So I bought the Yamaha SO3. So that will be considered my second keyboard, technically, because I sold the first one. So I ended up buying me a second keyboard, Yamaha. Is that Yamaha or Multi? Yamaha. Yamaha? Yamaha. Anyway, SO3. Y'all know SO3. I think the SO3 is by Yamaha. And so I bought that. Or Roland or whoever. So after that, y'all, the thing is, I'm saying, how would I teach myself to start playing like the pros today? I mean, I was working my way up to this point, so getting myself a keyboard, and then it was over at that point, because then when I started running into a whole bunch of different musicians, and I'm like, hey man, can I hang out with you? And so they was like, man, go ahead, man. It was one of those things I would just, it's kind of comically for me to laugh about it, because it is somewhat funny. It was disappointing at first, but then some of it was funny. And the reason why I'm saying that is because sometimes you might get a musician that might tell you, oh man, come on, man, come through, you know. In their minds, like, if you can catch what I'm doing, good luck. If you can catch what I'm doing, all right. So I find that comical to me, because at first, you know, I'm like, man, okay, cool. So I go hang out with a whole slew of different musicians, and of course, I've learned the idea about the camera. That wasn't the first thing I bought. I had the it's up in my closet. I still have it, which is funny. The cassette tapes, where I went to rehearsals and church services and recorded some of the, if not majority, I don't want to say the majority. Let me just say a split half. No, I don't know, a third. I don't know. I recorded a whole bunch of musicians over time, and they invited me to come through. So that's why I use that comical portion of it. You know, first is disappointing, but then on the second hand, they did invite me to come through and say, hey, if you want to learn, just bring your recorder and we record. But it wasn't one of those situations where, hey, we're gonna sit down and show you A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, if you can come and pick up what we doing, good luck. So it was one of those situations that had occurred. I'm not saying every musician was like that, but I'm just being honest. This is what it came down to. Much later on, several years later, let me see, after I moved here in 2000, about 2003, I want to give it take. 2002 or 2003, give or take. I ran into this musician who's the GOAT, and at Guitar Center. I'm just telling you my history. Now, I ran into this cat, and then later on, he contacted me several months later and said, hey, man, I got this proposition for you. Now, meanwhile, I was still struggling, trying to figure out how to play all this type of, you know, all this other stuff. Trying to be fancy with all this type of stuff. Now, I'm not a keyboard player. Remember, I'm talking about trying to learn some stuff on the organ. So he came, hollered at me and said, hey, man, you know, we could hook up. I could show you some ideas on what the pros are doing and what the heavyweight cats are doing. You know, the people that we look up to. And remember, I told y'all these are the same cats. He said, hey, man, you know, you can come to my church and record me in rehearsals. Or if I'm doing a gig somewhere, you can come and record me. Wherever I'm at, whoever it is, right? And so I did what I call my homework. Later on, digital kicked in, all right? I want to say after 2007, or close on or around 2007, if you will, somewhere in that ballpark. Then that's when they start coming out with digital stuff, you know, when you can hook up with the computer and all this type of stuff. And so, give and take around those years, I started collecting digital. Listen, I'm talking from, if you're a beginner musician of today, from back then, we had that. Back then, cassette tapes. What was the other one before cassette tapes? The bigger tapes. Yeah, we had all that. The records. Yeah, that was back in the days, right? All right, all right. Way back, like I said, several centuries ago. Now things have moved forward where we're going digital, right? So I got into the digital world, and believe it or not, some of the pros out there, or a particular pro musician, keyed me into it. Actually, yeah, keyed me into it. Of course, the cat that was the GOAT, who I asked for help, a little bit of help, and told him what my situation is or was. And he was like, man, shoot, man, you better start getting into this digital work. Get you a laptop, and, you know, I can help you with the software stuff. And and get you up to date to stuff. So I started purchasing the digital cameras. I started purchasing this digital recorder, and stuff like that. And then I upgraded it to another digital device as well, audio, and start going around recording various different musicians who did allow me, invited me to come and roll with them. And so, with that being said, if you're trying to learn how to play like the pros, if you're trying to learn how to play like the heavyweights, you got to do a little bit of homework. All right. So these three items right here, including my OG item in the closet over there, has done me some justice. All right. Has done me some justice. All right. I've collected my homework. I did my homework, right? Did my homework. Oops. Let's see here. Hold on. What's that? What is this? So I did my homework, y'all. So I did my homework. I think I did over the kill my homework, actually, to the point where I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up, y'all. All right, couldn't keep up. All right, I think I went overboard, actually, and I learned that from the pros, but also I learned that from the GOAT. The GOAT was like, yo, man, you know, if they telling you to do this, then go do this. And then I will help you get the understanding on what these cats are doing. The other side of this, y'all, is I didn't know the theory behind the madness. Now, some may say, well, there's no point in learning the theory because that's no fun. Just go ahead. Like they used to tell me in church, go ahead and let the Lord use you. And I didn't know what I was doing. Let the Lord use you. Let the Lord. And I didn't know what I was doing. That's what they used to say in church, right? They'd be like, just let the Lord. All right, that's comical, right? So, but I was to a point where I'm like, man, I don't understand what I'm doing. Or I don't understand what other cats are doing unless I'm standing over their shoulder and they playing something, something like that. And then I will get a better outlook if I can go from that point. I get a better outlook on what I think that they might be doing, but I don't understand fully what they're doing. So I ended up, y'all, in my mid-30s. Some of y'all probably count. How old is this dude now? I'm almost 100 years old. I'm almost 100 years old. Okay, wait, he said mid-30s. Wait, this is 2024. Man, he must be. So in my mid-30s, I started going back and teaching myself the theory behind the matter. And this was boring on the keyboard and the organ. I was teaching myself this on the keyboard. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Oh my God. I ain't gonna even lie. I was bored to the death. But I knew the scales. I knew the theory. That was the funniest part because I took that in school when I used to have to play the horns. I just didn't know the material, or let me say, not the material, but I just didn't know how to do that on a keyboard. I didn't know that's a C from an A flat, from a B flat to a D flat. I didn't know that at the time. So I had to go back and teach myself this theory, literally, every day. I spent every day, 7 days, I believe it was. No, 12 days. Literally 12 days teaching me myself this type of stuff on the keyboard. And I kept repeating it over again. You know, D flat, you know, whatever the keys start. D flat, E flat, F, G. And it was not about how fast I did it. I did it as slow as I can get it. Right? And this was so boring. I'm not gonna even lie. The next key, you know, the D scale. And I had to teach myself this theory. Right? And the funny thing is I could talk and do it. From back then, right? I couldn't do that, right? And the E flat scale. Right? So back then, this actually helped me out to understand what I'm hitting, what notes am I hitting. And then I started hearing these cats talking about number system. Yes. When I was in my 40s. What are y'all talking about? What's a 1? What's a 2? What's a 5? What's a 7? What y'all talking about? And I'm like, what is these cats talking about? I learned the scale, but I didn't know anything about the number system. behind the magnet. So now I had to go all the way back and say, wait a minute, this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Oh, what they're saying is C is the 1, D is 2, oh, E is 3, F 4, G is number 5, A number 6, and B number 7. Oh, see, I didn't know that. All right, your Bo Andre didn't know that stuff, right? So I didn't know this stuff. So I had to teach myself. What would I do? What is it that I would do to get on the level of the pro level? So I had to start going back and like as if I'm going back to preschool or kindergarten or something, right? First grade, or second grade, third grade. They figured to get this thing knocked up. And now I was 100 years old. So I'm almost 100 years old. So now I'm not halfway. I'm past the halfway mark. So anyway, so yes, I had to go back and be like, man, let me find out what these cats are talking about. Now I understand. The 1, I know. 4 up. 4. You know, like 3. Now I understand what they're talking about now. 5. 5, 3, 4, 5. 1. Now I know what that means. Now I know what they mean by that. But now, do I understand what chords to put with it? Which was another process that I had to understand. What chords am I putting on the 1? What chords am I putting on the 2? What chords am I going to put on the 3, 4? 4 up if I'm going out of the key scale and then going to the 5. If I want to go to the 5 up, if I want to go to the 6, right? You know, 6 up, whatever. Plus 6, sharp 6, 5, 6, whatever y'all want to call it. To the 7, whatever, and back to the 1. So that's the learning process of this stuff. And I'm like, man, what is these guys talking about? Right? I remember one time I was at this church with some friends of mine, and they was doing some shout music, praise break, and I got on the organ, you know, thinking I'm, you know, and I'm doing, and then the musician's like 3. I'm like, huh? What's a 3? Of course, I had to hear after I heard him going to the 3. Then I realized that was a 3, right? You know, 4. You know, 4 up. I'm like, what? Until they did the move, diminished move. Oh, okay, y'all going diminished. 5. Oh, and then, you know, I didn't know what that was. I mean, until I heard him playing the moves, and then 1, 1, 1, whatever the moves, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't know what he was talking about. You know, 6 up, 7, 1, and you know, I didn't know what they was talking about. I had no clue about what these cats was saying to me. I was like, what they talking about? See, so I had to teach myself this theory stuff to understand what they are talking about, right? Now, some people may say, just let the law use you. I'm okay, yeah, cool. But if I don't know what these cats talking about, go to the 7, to the 6, to the 5, to the 4, to the 3, to the 1, I'm lost. I'm lost. I'm a lost puppy. So now I know by messing around, teaching myself this, no one else needs to, well, hasn't come in to teach me this. So now if I'm in A flat, I know that this is my 5, 6, 1, 1, 1. See, no one taught me that. No one taught me that but me, right? And the only reason why I learned it, because what? I studied, right? Studied to try to understand what cats are talking about, all right? And so now I know what they're doing, even though no one showed me how to do it, right? Nobody knows. No one's showing me this, y'all. So my thing is this. Let me see. It's gonna make me. Let me see if it's gonna make me go all over there. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So my thing is this, y'all. Okay, where you hiding now? Where you hiding? Where did he go? My thing is I have to end up teaching myself this, right? and try to understand what they mean. 5 6 5 1 1 1 5 6 5 1 1. Right now, I got the concept behind the matter because of the theory. Nobody's giving me organ lessons or keyboard lessons to show me how to do it. You know what I'm saying? No one had to teach me that, right? I somehow I said, oh, see, discovery, right? 5 6 5 6 6 5 1 1 1. Oh, then I could go chord wide, 1 in A flat, 5 1. Now I could do the chord movement. What? What? Faster. You see what I'm saying? So, me not taking keyboard lessons, and I'm trying to sound like the pros and try to figure out what these pros are doing. Now, I might use the word just as accidental, me teaching myself this. Y'all probably disagree. It is an accident. I didn't know I was going to end up doing it. I had no idea I was going to do that. Right? No idea. Like... Back to them. That's the 1. I'm on the 1. Now 5. 1. You see what I'm saying? No one taught me that. Now I understand a lot more better than what I did several years back. And I'm almost 100 years old. And I'm like, what? All right. Now, if I had to learn that stuff when I was 16 years old moving forward, yeah, that part. All right, now, I will say that my godfather wanted me to learn theory in the beginning on the piano, but I wasn't trying to hear all that, right? I wasn't trying to, nah. Dude, no thank you. But then when I ended up going to actually play at a church, literally, then the tables kind of changed a little bit because that theory that I should have went ahead and took up, oh my godfather was trying to get me to learn that theory, would have probably helped me out. And the only reason I'm going this avenue is because I feel that I don't have perfect pitch. I do have what is called perfect photographic memory. So if you should be playing something and I'm standing over your shoulder and you keep playing that same chord over, I'm going to remember that. And I'm watching that left hand, then I'm going to focus on the right hand. But I'm going to definitely look at the left hand and then try to figure out what you're doing in your right hand. Usually the right hand is the first thing you're going to see if you're standing over somebody's shoulder to the right, because you're going to see the right hand, right? All day. And if I keep playing that same move, I'm gonna remember you doing it. Even if you go somewhere. All right, I'm gonna have photographic memory because I'm gonna remember seeing that hand moving. So I'm like, oh, and then that person keep repeating that move over. Then it's pretty much a wrap. I got a photographic memory, and I'm gonna remember the moves all day. Now, in this case, I'm using the theory behind the madness. And if y'all remember me saying in the other videos, oh, by the way, I did mention I got the camera, but there's a problem with this little thing here. They broke off, so I don't know how I'm going to screw that on. And then number two, I got to figure out how I'm going to connect it to the, wait, where's that piece at? Oh, hold on. This part into the USB, because on my Mackie Dacky over here, it doesn't have the USB. It's just like the new iPhones, new plugins. Let me see, can I pull this one off? Has this type of plug-in, and there's only just two of them. So that means I have to come with another device, which I did pay for, which is called Vision Tech. And then I have to come with something that's going to connect to the USB. Oh, this is still charging. Camera's still charging up. So let me see if I can slide this over some without disconnecting something. So I bought this thing called the Vision Tech. All right. But with the Vision Tech, there's only two what you call a USB port, whatnot. So I had got this for my job where there's just 4 ports. So I had to connect that into the port here for the Vision Tech to be able to read on the laptop and to read my, just cut me off on my mouse. And then to be able to, what's this? This is for my MIDI right now because I have it MIDI through Cordy. All right, so there is another slot here. I just got to figure out how this will work with the software called OBS. Hold on, trying to figure out. So many wires over here. And then I gotta figure out how that works with the OBS, which is over here. And I clicked onto it yesterday. And then I have to figure out how to actually activate OBS again. So I had went through this before, but the last time all I was able to get is my picture on here, which is because this laptop comes with a camera here. So the camera was able to see me, but I did not know that I needed another camera to look down on the keyboard. And then I tried to find a way to get the picture of the Cordy on the OBS, and I couldn't figure out how to do that. So that's where I'm at with the process with that. So hopefully, and I don't know if I can replace this little bad boy because it's broke, or I'm gonna have to go what I call the ghetto way. Yeah, I call it ghetto. And figure out, let me see, because this closes, but I would need to have that open, and then the lens. I open up my lens. Let me see. I'm just trying to think. How would I do that? Cause somehow I'm gonna have to find a way to put this on the apparatus some kind of way so it's looking down on the keyboard some kind of way. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Why is it dark? Oh, duh. Gotta open up the lens. That probably will explain that. There we go. So I got visual on the camera. Got my hands there. So that part I hadn't figured this out yet because, like I said, to go to OBS, only one time was able to get my picture on OBS, my face on OBS with the picture. Now I just got to figure out how I would do that with this camera because the thing broke. So I don't know how I'm gonna, that part. How I'm gonna mount this up some way, looking down on the keyboard somehow. Yeah, that part. Or I'm gonna have to invest in another camera some kind of way. I don't know. But if this thing does come off, I don't know if they will sell another piece like this that I could replace it. Or I might have to do some MacGyver move and fill this in. Yeah. So that's why I'm at with this. Whoever out there is wondering when would I be able to start doing my videos with Cordy. And that's where I'm at. So, yes, I have the camera. I found one. All right, now let me... Oh, it's back up. Cool, thank you. So I got some more. Let me get the static out of my ear. All right, so let me drop this software off my screen. All right, and I got Cordy still. All right, so I still got Cordy. All right, so that's where I'm at in case someone out there is wondering how come I haven't put up the Cordy, and that's the reason why is because I need to go back in here. Also, too, the reason why I couldn't also complete it, finish working on it, is because I got ill and ended up sick and stuff. So hospitalized. So I'm doing a lot better now today, and hopefully I'll be back to work next month, couple weeks, and I could be back to my practicing. Now more than likely I'm gonna have to readjust my practice, because since I have been out for a couple of months, I'm able to get up early in the morning, practice, do in the afternoon, do in the evening. So when I go back to work, that's gonna be a whole nother different type of me coming here and revamping my practice zone. And hopefully it doesn't kill me in the beginning when I first get going. But I do know that once I get my traction going, which I have traction already, so with me going back to work, hopefully that wouldn't slow me down. So to get to learning how to play like the pros or the heavyweights, you got to get your homework, collect your homework, whatever it is that you want to learn from, Johnny or Bob or whoever out there. Then you wanna go that route. Let me replug this back up because I think I might have to use it later. So let me charge this iPad up. Put that back on the charger. So what I do is remember those recordings I said. So rolling back. Let me see. Oh, that hurt my ears. I'll start listening to whoever I like listening to and try to grab some ideas from that person. I may not learn the whole entire tune depending on how long it is. So excuse any noises if you hear coming from this crazy laptop here. It's Odell. Call it the Odell. Let's see if it's gonna make some noises today. For the last 3 days it hasn't. There you go. Odell decided want to make some noises today. All right, so I don't know why it does it, and then majority of the time it does it, and then a few of those times he won't make these stupid noises. But anyway, so this is my Odell. This is a computer that I did a lot of my recordings and stuff on. So I said, let me just keep it until it just go dead. Of course, I back everything up. Whatever I learn or whatever I gather, then I back it up. Back it up. Save my data into other devices. Matter of fact, I probably should do that. Is this the 1 gigabyte? No, 1 terabyte one. I hope this is the 1 terabyte one. Can't see it. Oh, 2 terabytes. Oh, excuse me. All right, so this is 2 terabytes. This is gonna be a lot of data that I could save up on here. So I probably should work on backing up the stuff. Some of the recent stuff that I actually keep collecting stuff. So to be able to print, and that one loud in my ear, that would have been terrible. Okay, let me see if it's gonna act stupid again. Let's see, it's gonna be nice to me or what? Gonna be nice to me or what? Okay, let me find out. Oh, cool, it's gonna be nice to me today. Sometimes it gets stuck and it don't wanna act right. All right, so to go from pro. All right. I think my volume is okay. Oh, hey, don't get stuck, dummy. All right. So I gathered my homework. All right, I got so much stuff. So here's the thing. Don't do what I did. When you get the material, learn it. All right. So I started saying to myself, you know what? I need to learn the stuff that I gather, right? And learn it over a period of time. Select something that you want to work on. All right. I'll open up a folder or something. Let me see. So, what? Let me see. Let's go here. Oops. See it acting crazy again. All right. Let's see here. So let's say I want to learn some stuff from Jason White or something. Let me pick Jason White. And it can just be a few chords. Let's see, do that again. Ta-da! So 4 chords. And when I from a beginner level, intermediate level, you can play advanced level. The thing is, you just need to know what your skills are in all 12 keys. And know what chords to put on the 1. Major on the 1, minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, and back to your 1 chord. But also, I do this little project. I have my own little formula 2, and I go 1, everything on the 1. Major on the 1, minor on the 1, augmented on the 1, bonus point at 7. I do this in a lot of my videos over and over again. Diminish on the 1, dominant chord on the 1, major 7 on the 1. You didn't see that with the other first formula, right? So now you're seeing something different. The sus2 on the 1. Secret sauce chord on the 1, sus4 on the 1, and the secret sauce on the 1, and then my tritone. So, suppose you do this in all 12 keys. Major on the 1, minor on the 1, augmented on the 1, add 7, diminish on the 1, dominant chord on the 1, major 7 on the 1, sus2 on the 1, secret sauce chord on the 1, sus4, let's go back to sus4 chord on the 1. They both share the same secret sauce chord. Of course, I already know my tritones already. Okay, I'll do it again. By this time, I should have this down. Totally memorized. Let's go to the next key. Major on the 1, minor on the 1. Right. Y'all see what I'm saying? Augmented on the 1. Add 7. Because I know my scale. Dominant chord on the 1. There's that major. Major 7 on the 1. Sus2 on the 1. Secret sauce chord on the 1. Back to the sus2. Go to my sus4. And guess what? They both share my finger the same chord. Of course, my tritone again. By that time, I should already have these chords locked in already, like literally locked in. And then go to E flat and repeat the same thing until I get all 12 keys knocked up. People might say, hey, you don't have to remember your chords. Yes, you do. Because if you don't, you are in some trouble. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing this way, right? Because eventually I'm going to hear this major move. I'm going to hear this minor move somewhere. I'm going to hear somebody play the augmented chord somewhere. Whether it's down here, up here, or up here. Whether it's that major move down here, or up here, or whatnot. Of course, make sure you practice those chords in different spots. Because you never know. You never know when a musician's going to voice his chords or place chords. Just like that secret sauce chord. If I would told you to transpose up, 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 these chords are going to come up. let's see. Either this, well, okay, so you can play this secret sauce chord. You can also move this note to the left. You also can move the top note to that note. Now that just gonna put you in an F major chord, first version. Now you can mess around with it. Right? Now, if I give you the cluster underneath, it just turns out that I'm playing a what chord, y'all? I already just told y'all, I gave y'all the hint already. The G major chord. G major. G flat major chord. Right? G major chord. Now I'm just gonna move the note over. Now I'm gonna hit you with the 7 underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just putting the 7 underneath, which is the cluster. What? Or I can hit you with the E flat. Now, this just without the 7 underneath, you're just gonna end up playing a G flat 6-9 chord. That's the 6. That's the 9. I'm sorry, yeah. 1, 2, yeah, the 9. The 9 is at the top of my finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because the note repeated itself. Oh. Now, if I switch the finger over, it's a G flat 6-9 chord. 6, 9. G flat 6, 9. G flat 6, 9. Now I'm going to put the 7 underneath. Now the chord name changes. I told y'all what it was a minute ago. Remember I said? The F. Hold on, let me turn this. The F7 sus4. This is what the pros do. So, if I know the heavyweight musicians are playing around with these secret sauce chords, I call it, the 7 sus4 in transposing, E7 sus4, E flat 7 sus4, D7 sus4, D flat 7 sus4, C7 sus4, and I keep messing with this in all 12 key. You never know where they might voice it at. So say it's voiced up here. Say if this was voiced here, I'm just transposing B flat 7 sus4 to an F7 sus4 because of the bottom note. Now, if I want to change that sound from off of the E flat and go to D flat, now I'm doing a minor chord. Now I'm doing a minor chord, B flat minor. Look at it, B flat minor. I'm just not playing the 5. The 1, flat 3, 5. I just omitted it. So it's still a B flat minor chord. What is it? If you know your scale in B flat, what am I hitting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7. Well, what's happening with the 7? You flatten the 7, so that makes you play a B flat minor 7 chord. Until I hit you with the 2 notes underneath, which is the cluster, F minor 2. Now I have a what? A G flat major 9 chord. Until I take the 9 off the top, it's a major 7. With inversion. Third inversion. Third inversion. Root. First inversion. What was I doing? Oh, wait. And doing inversions. Doesn't matter what I do here or... Okay, now it does... When I add another note, it makes me play the 9 or the 7. 7, 9, 7, 9. Or depends on where that finger hits at the top. Oh. So, all of us can do this from beginner level because now I just told you, as long as you learn your major move, your minor move, your augmented move, add 7, diminished, dominant chord, and so forth, you'll be able to hear these chords. Or is it this one? So this is F7 sus4. But as soon as I come up and hit the other note, we have a flat 9. Remember I told you the 9. And then you have the flat 3. Flat 3. So you have an F7 sus4, flat to 9, flat 3. All right, so Depends on how my ears want to interpret that first chord. Or which one am I hearing? So I'll probably go with this one. Or either one, it doesn't matter. Well, it do matter actually. So, because I know he's going to A flat. So now he's going to A flat, partial of it, right? He's playing partial of the A flat. Like he's doing a doorbell. A flat, he's just playing partial of it. Alright, cool. Then the next chord. Now remember that major 7, I had just played it. So he's just playing the major 7 partial of it. G flat major 7. You know, he's A flat, G flat major 7, G flat major 9 chord, basically. A flat, and he plays the chord again. A flat major 7. This is the 9. Now he take you to the 7. G flat major 9. And then he taking you to the major 7, G flat major 7. The chord before that was A flat. B flat minor. And so you go. Then you go back to the same chord. He's repeating that chord. Now you probably notice my finger is doing that. So like. Alright, so he repeats the whole movement. Now he's going to the power chord. And then he's going to hit you with this funny chord. I call it a preaching chord, sort of. Oh, let me get that piano sound. And then Cordy doesn't know how to identify the first movement, except for this, the perfect fifth. And then when I came down with this chord, Cordy doesn't know how to identify this particular chord, except E flat on the bottom. Because Cordy can't figure out, what is this? What kind of chord is this? Until I hit this. Then Cordy identified this as a D major chord, flat 5, or add flat 5, if you will, with the G flat on the bottom. And that's how Cordy identified. So to learn how to play like the pros, you got to listen to the pros. All right, figure out some ideas on what they're doing, and then execute. And I've told you what the chords were as well. G flat major 7, just up top. G flat major 9, I'm sorry. A flat, just cut up. G flat major 7, cut up a little bit. B flat, cut up somewhat. Actually, you see root position, first version and second version, and then he just repeated it again. Then the last one, D major chord. All right, D major chord, flat to 5. Where's my 5? At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's the 5 here. So flat 5. So it's flat 5 at the top. Yeah. So flat 5. That's at the top of the finger. That's it. D major, flat 5. That's a trip how you did that, knowing that he was going to a D major chord but split the chord. D major, inversions, root position, first inversion. And this kind of offset it because normally it would have been here. But you just offset that with this A flat. Hey!